Hello everyone, this is Merit Train Boy speaking, and welcome to the next part where I'll be showing you guys the rest of the items that were from eBay. Last part showed some which I think has to be the rarest items, but it's just in my opinion. And here in this next part, we're going to be taking a look at some more rare items, but there's some others that show the sign of total destruction. So, without further ado, let's check out the rest of those items from eBay. Next up, here is something that I was lucky to come across. Yes, this is the 2002 Bachmann Trains catalog. Inside this catalog features all the products that were from Bachmann Trains. One was the release of models and train sets when they were new for 2002. The other was the launch of their very own Thomas & Friends range. What you're seeing here is when Bachmann Trains was good, cheap and affordable, and was proud to produce their own Thomas Friends toy line during the time when Season 6 came out. I'm sure that hopefully I'll be showing some larger pictures soon on my Google Plus page. Next, here is something that is totally looking like a mystery item. You can see here the packaging is covered completely with bubble wrapping. But unfortunately, the item inside the packaging, where you could see it, has been covered up with more bubble wrapping. So it wasn't long till I have grabbed some scissors and started cutting off the bubble wrapping.
Yeah, you can throw it as well.
And there, that was covered in all that bubble wrapping, was this. It's the large Ertl Pullback Thomas the Tank Engine model. It looks like that it's a well-minted box, and I could see that it has the stickers that are laying underneath the model. Unfortunately, the plastic wrapping that was keeping the model in place is a bit loose. And you can see that the model totally looks like that it's ready to be fallen out. So let's get this model out of its packaging. Hopefully it won't be too difficult. And looks like it's coming out. There we go. And here are the stickers that I'll be placing them onto this model. Alright, so I put the stickers on Thomas, both his front and back buffers and the front detail of his cab. And I'm just happy to have this Thomas in my Thomas tank collection. And this was one of the Thomas tanks that I thought I would never end up getting. But hey, I finally got it. And according to that box artwork, this model is Pullback, and it has a pullback motor in it, and it looks like it's got very thick traction tires at the back. And as for Thomas's face, It reminds me of the real Thomas in the Railway series. It's just because of the shape of his nose. I'm not sure what that looks like to you, but totally looks like a Railway series nose to me. So here we are on a flat wooden floor, so we can try out this Thomas out. Off you go. Yeah, it looks like it works good. What's inside this box? Well, of course, more stuff. And here's one of them. And I think we'll be taking a look at this first. This is a Ertl Edward. And I already have this, but it's a paper face version. And I've been trying to get another Edward that has a molded face. And this one is pretty well mint in box, hasn't been opened. I suppose it's because that the range has totally been discontinued in 2004. That's when the Ertl Thomas of France range came to an end. And these items are very rare and hard to find, and you would find them online, probably mostly on eBay and Amazon. But anyway, let's get it open. Here it is, free from its packaging, like I've always been saying. I am happy that I got this Ertl Edward now, since it has that molded face, and it looks pretty well in good condition, and just like my sticker face Ertl Edward. So, next will be this Trackmaster Paxton. And you're probably wondering if I already have Trackmaster Paxton. Well, yes, I do. But I've been trying to get another one to do a mod on him. Like, you know, do the moving coupling rods. I've seen some YouTubers did that modification on Paxton. And this looks in pretty good condition. And that's why I didn't want to do the modification on my Trackmaster Paxton. And came with him is a Blue Mountain Quarry slate truck, where we know that in the Paxton pack he came with two, but only one just came with Paxton. Yeah, it looks like that it's just out of its box. And it still works, so let's give Paxton a test run. Well, that was a good test run, and hopefully I'll be doing that modification of the moving coupling rods on Paxton. So these items are being kept safe in this box right here. Yes, you may have guessed, some Tomy Thomas trains. But these ones, however, are broken. And before you ask, why did I get these broken Tomy Thomas trains off of eBay? Well, because I might use bits and pieces of their parts as replacement parts on my Tomy and Trackmaster Thomas trains, which they still work. And also, I might use their parts for some of my homemade custom Thomas trains that I'll be making, you know? So the first engine is James, and you can see his face has gone kind of a bit yellow. Although this body shell of James looks in good condition. And the reason why that these trains don't work is because the wires have been disconnected. And you can see James's tender might have seen better days. But on this side looks kind of a bit okay. I mean, though right here has got a nasty looking chip. And you can see that sometimes often these trains, when you come across them on eBay or probably some other places like a train show or probably in a retail shop or something, these trains are often missing the battery cover, which is the coal for their tender. And although the battery compartment looks very in good condition, so if I connect the wires back together, then maybe if it's still good, or probably the motor. Next up is Henry. He looks okay, although there's a little bit of smudgeness, and his coupling rod is totally well bent. And just like James, the wires have been disconnected. And check that out, yeah, definitely no kidding. No wonder how much the coupling rods have been bented up. This could certainly what would happen if you were trying to pull them apart from their piston cylinders. And just like James, the battery cover is missing. But it looks like that the battery compartment looks a bit okay, although it's kind of a bit dirty. The tender looks okay. And here's Edward. And you could definitely see how well used this toy is. He is missing a wheel right here that should be under his wheel arch, and that his coupling rods should be connected to. However, they're just hanging in there with no connecting. It totally looks like that this toy has gone green. And you can see this, as for the example, you can see the sticker is blue, kind of matching the wheels. And you can see the plastic of the paint gone a bit turquoise greenish. And just like Edward and James, the wires have been cut away. But however, lucky for Edward, the battery cover that was covering his battery compartment is still there. And it looks like that it's in good condition. And lastly, but no means least, Thomas. And you might know what this Thomas is. This is the Steam Thomas that was first released in that 2005 train set, which was the Steam-Along Thomas, and it was also available in the Water Tower set. And this is the Thomas that should be connected to any coach, which is powered, but it looks like it must have been broken away. And you can see the wires, hers are right there. Looks like that it's still in good condition, although his face has his face looks like has seen better days. You can see one of his eyebrows looks like it's facing downwards. Must have been a factory era or something. And you can see his the traction tires certainly have seen better days. Pretty well dried up. This toy must have been in tons of water, but even though this was used to put water inside. So I might use the part that's inside here for a replacement of my Steam Thomas, in case if I lose the one. So this is what exactly that I am planning to do with these broken Tomy trains. I'll just keep them in a box of my dead Tomy Thomas trains, and maybe I'll be customizing them as scrap engines, which I might make a scrapyard set. And like I said before, I'll be using parts of them as replacement parts and to make my own Tomy and Trackmaster custom trains. And just one more thing, in spite of Leo Kim video, on some of these used toys you'll see a bit of fluff in their wheels, which they look like they've been rolling a lot on the carpet. That was a bit tough to get off. But also you might find a little bit of fluff in here as well, between the axle and the gears. But yeah, sometimes they're just a bit difficult to get out. Next up is something which I've always wanted to add to my Thomas tank collection, and really I've always wanted one of these. You might have guessed, it's the Golden Bear My First Thomas. And also came with it is this flat car, and as you can see on it, it says My First Thomas on it, and there's a blue plastic piece that opens up. So I think this was for part of a set, or it had some loads that's supposed to carry it. But also, if you had another engine, you could have it sitting on top of it, so it would look like that it's being taken to the works to be mended. But also, as we take a look at this Thomas, you can easily tell how it looks, even though this is kind of suitable for a very young child. It has got a lot of detailing that's lacking on it, and you can see there's the number 1 which looks like it's on the side of the cab. It should be right there, but what else can you say? And I even love how these traction tires feel. But one thing that I mostly like about this Thomas is that how the face looks. Definitely looks stunning, just like in the classic TV series. As we take a look underneath this Thomas, it's saying that it was made by Tomy in China, and looking right here, it's from 1995. And on the flatbed, same company, Tomy, and looking right here, it's from 1997. So this flatbed was made very later than Thomas. I am happy to have this Thomas now, and this is going to look fantastic in my collection. So here's another box, but it's small, and inside are some pieces of Tomy Thomas trains. And it looks like that this is a chassis from Percy and a plastic bag of parts that are from Percy as well. And right here we got Thomas and Ben. So I think we'll be taking a look at these two first. First up is the number 1 blue tank engine Thomas, and you could see how loved that this toy had from its original owner. Although the body shell of Thomas looks okay, but even though you could tell how damaged that his chassis is, you can see that a lot of plastic has been chipped away on the front, but not too much at the back. And you can see how messed up his face looks. The eyebrows are gone, and underneath I've noticed that there's a letter M that is drawn underneath of Thomas. And as for Ben, he looks kind of well in good condition, only with a little bit of dings around him. And this is a Tomy version. You see there that it was from 1999. And yeah, not much else to say. Although I tried to test to see if the Thomas although I tried to test Thomas to see if his motor still works,
But when I put a battery in him, it appears that it doesn't work. So it looks like that the motor inside is dead. So yeah, definitely a useless train this one is. Let's open Ben up and see if he works. There we go. I could have sworn I felt something. Yeah. It looks like this motor is dead too. This one is dead as well. Now here's what it was. Now here's what was inside that box, and like I've already explained it, what this part is. This is the chassis from a Tomy Percy. And it looks like that it's in some great condition, and nothing has broken off. But although you can see here the sticker that's on the piston cylinder, it looks like that's about to be peeled off. And also, to make this complete, as a complete chassis, I should say, it also came with the other parts that were supposed to be in the chassis. And you can see there's Percy's wheels, and there's the motor, and some weights, and there's even a rear coupling, and there's some screws in there. And it looks like right there, if you could see right there, that's a gear that is supposed to be attached to this wheel right here. But it looks like it must have been broken off. And wait, hey, take a look at that. The underneath has a letter M as well, just like Thomas does. I didn't notice that until now. But anyway, these are the pieces that are supposed to be attached to this chassis. Although I don't know what happened to the body shell of Percy. Probably that must have been sent off to a different person on eBay as a separate order. But this is why that this, along with Thomas and Ben that I got, was a repair and replacing lot or some sort. Well, however, I wanted to test to see if this motor still works, and however, you see I even put Percy's front wheels back onto the front of the chassis. But however, I've noticed that the inside of this motor makes a rattle. So maybe there might be a loose screw in there. I think. Because while I was trying to put the chassis back together, I noticed that one of the screws was missing. And it's right back here. But I just want to focus on the motor right now to see if it still works. So here we go. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be working. I made sure that metal ton piece right here is in properly. But it looks like that it doesn't seem to be working. So, this must be a dead motor. Although you know that rattle that this motor was making while I was shaking it, look what's inside. Ah, that missing screw. I wonder what it was doing in there. Maybe that was causing that trouble. In fact, it's pretty well dusty. Well, since I got that screw out of the motor and put it back together, and yes, I've cleaned up the gears that were inside, but just want to see if it still works. Yeah, it doesn't. So I knew it. This motor is completely dead. So this is definitely a bit of a frustrating moment. So this was kind of a bit frustrating to see if, rather or not, that the motors inside of these things would still work. But unfortunately, they don't. So it looks like that it's time to get them some new motors right inside. I just want to show you that I just put the whole chassis of Percy together. And this is all of what it has got. And yeah, the motor doesn't work. So this is going to get tossed to a side. That is definitely something that I won't get back. I just thought I'd go back to the Tomy Thomas because I just want to show you some things that I just missed. Like, you see here, one of the traction tires, that's been placed incorrectly. You see, the tread, if you look carefully at the tread, it's been placed correctly, and it's not showing any tread on them, but this one, it's done correctly. And another thing that I have really completely missed is this. You see that metal ton? That metal ton is connected to the motor, and it should be underneath this piece of plastic. No wonder why it wouldn't work, but I'll see if I could fix that, and maybe that'll help. So I just took those screws out, so I'll carefully, there we go. Just apply that opens, and hopefully I'll just push it under that metal ton through that hole under the plastic. There we go. But of course the that hook came off, and I'll put those screws back together. Sorry if I was stuttering a bit. Now, since the metal ton, a part of the motor, is underneath that plastic and through the metal hole, hopefully that it's now fixed. Let's just put a battery in to make sure of it. Ah! Success! Finally, I got Thomas to work. Just a little bit of repairness. But it looks like that gear is stripped. So you can see there, every time I stop the wheels from turning, this is what it was going on. But, so that was a good fix. Very easy fix to fix in this Tomy Thomas. So I have managed to fix Thomas that still works, when in fact he didn't at first. But as for Ben, he is completely broken down, as well as the chassis of Percy. And I think the motor inside needs changing, right inside. That is inside this black motor, or whatever it is called. But like I said, I managed to fix Thomas. Hence that still works. But I don't know if I'll be able to restore it to its formal glory, or turn it into a new engine. It's just all that damaged that it's got. But I do have an idea of what I will do with it, and someone else might do with it as well. So if any one of you people would like this damaged Tomy Thomas and would be able to restore it to its formal glory, or probably, of course, maybe turn it into a new engine, then you are more than welcome to have him. And as for Ben, I'll be using the boiler of Ben. I'll be using the boiler of him to make a homemade Trackmaster 16. You know, the engine that was told by Wilbert. And as for Percy's chassis, I'm not sure what I'll be able to do with it, but hopefully I'll think of something of what to do with it. So maybe it'll be a part of a new homemade engine or something like that. But maybe I'll have an idea for it. So since this damaged Tomy Thomas that I'll be giving away to someone who claims it first still works, I'm just gonna toss these two dead trains aside. Now there is truly something that I won't get back.
Well, that's all I got to show you in this video, and I only have one more item to show you, but I'm going to be featuring that in yet another video. Still, I hope you have enjoyed watching this part of my recent eBay purchases, And remember, if you want the broken Tomy Thomas, remember to leave a comment below. So stay tuned for that last and final part, where I will be showing you that final item from eBay. See you next time.